long as we respect all these band air, we can still remain together. Anybody that violates it, war new. And everybody says, yes, war new. So it simply means you have set up the standard of the society you want. So, on that, I actually really said society or a system is actually the way of life created by people and then practiced again and again and again until it's never perfect, right? Until it becomes sort of like implementable, practicable, sustainable. So if you build a bad behavior, a terrible behavior, cheating, lying, manipulating, killing, all vices, and you build that into a system consistently, right? Rather than punish it, you are finding a way around it to sweep it under the carpet, and then you are cherry picking those to be punished for it. So that society that cherry picks offenders, right? That cherry picks the way it punishes and rewards acts, right? That system is practicing a bad behavior. So that is what Nigeria is. Nigeria sustained terrible, bad behavior that became a system that can only produce criminals. It doesn't matter how much you try. No matter how many times those who claim to be good people try, the only people that will always have their way will always be the terrible, terrible people, because they are the ones who will pay delegates money, okay, to choose the worst of them to become candidates of political parties. They are also the ones who are going to pay the electoral officers to manipulate results, pay political thugs to chase voters, bribe voters to support them, do all the things that you ordinarily should should send them to jail. Rather than go to jail, they will be in churches and mosques organizing Thanksgiving. So this is the process. This is the bad behavior sustained. And the only people you will keep producing will be criminals after criminals. And you always ask yourself, how come is it that now only bad people they lead Nigeria? Because the system allows it. If the system was working, sure you get, Tiffany will be in handcuffs, currently cooling up in one New York jail. I've been at one Chicago West End jail right now. So somebody who is a drug dealer, therefore, will not see Tiffany as a role model, because he would rather continue to be his drug dealer, maintaining his life, never touch politics. Because the day you go into politics, you are done for. There's always that line you can't cross. But in Nigeria, there is no line that they can't cross. You see, that line is already blurred out. So therefore, you continue to attract criminals who can pay trillions of naira to gain power. And once they have the power, right, again, before they gain the power, they have all the solutions, right? Then once they gain the power, they have all the excuses. That is why you have people who criticize government, that they get in and they're able to do all manner of atrocities, all kind of bad behaviors, criminal behaviors, because they know they are never going to be punished for it. But that guy that spoke last, right, he said something which a lot of people kind of have been expecting, but also believe that it is likely never going to happen. And that is, you see, the way Nigeria is, in all sincerity, there should never be anything APC anywhere anymore right now. But it's unfortunate that that is not how things work in that place. Because as it is right now, it is all by ranking. You see, at the federal level, now APC. So therefore, more and more freebies, rapper, Gary, sachet, sachet, powder. What do you call that thing again? Soft. That thing inside that bag. And I've not touched that in years. What do you call it again? In this, anyway, sachet soap, or cup of rice. So at the federal, there are some of them that if the federal is APC and the state is APC, so local government is APC, so all of them seasonally, every season they will bring rice from federal, rice from state, and they will bring a Ugoro from local government. So they will now start sharing them and say, all of them, combine them together. And before you know it, they just stick to them. They say, well, you know what? They are the only ones who have something to offer. You see people responsible for your, oh, Babajari, all these ones don't get money to spend. All this opposition, they don't get money. They don't get money. So some of the people are now, advising Atiku that isn't it better for Atiku to possibly hang the boots now? Not me. People are saying that. Because to them, by the time you get to 2020, to the end of 2025, you are going to see real coming together of all of these guys. That is what Atiku, but what is that thing that Atiku will be bringing to the table? The reason why he chose Okowa in 2023 is because Okowa was like a deep-pocketed. He had deep pockets. So between their relationship and after their relationship, Okowa became EFCC customer to explain how 1.3 trillion naira oil windfall money that they gave to him, how he spent the money. So right now, Atiku's deep pockets is gone. And he has no real governor that is going with him. But the reason why I say he had none is because right now, the southern governors who are opposition, right, they are being wooed over and to come on to Tinubu's side. While those ones who are from northern Nigeria, right, believe that some of their own colleagues who are also APC, they are already in talks, right, whereby they are also going to leave APC. A shocker that they believe that some of you will be so surprised. For example, right, you are seeing all of these guys now joining Tinubu, like you get, and they're shockingly, at the end of 2025, you start seeing them in the north and their governors also joining whatever coalition. And I'm like, oh, but it's coming, Lele, you get what I mean now? Like, maybe somehow this is kind of a way of making themselves feel good by saying whatever it is that Tinubu is using right now to bring them to his side in order to make it look like his 2027 is going to be a walkover, right? Well, he's playing his hand very early. Anyway, I'll leave it in the diary so that I can have something to come back to maybe in another few months when other dramas play. Because as we know, before the end of this year, it is believed that at least 4 more governors of PDP and maybe ANPP in Kano, they will be joining Tinubu to make it look like who else remain. We'll find out. Here, this issue of Sharia in Yorubaland, well, for your information, I don't think it is, or I don't think it has ended or over. It is not. The last time this conversation popped up, right, it was some of these unscrupulous elements, extremists from northern Nigeria and their wannabe jihadists in Yorubaland who kept threatening us. On the one hand, they will tell you that Sharia is not for non-Muslims. It is just for settling disputes and that. Now, when you now remind them that there are 12 states in northern part of Nigeria where people have been subjected to the punishment of Sharia, even though they are not, and they are non-Muslims, then the next thing will be to try to gaslight you. They will call you Islamophobic and then threaten you. Before you know it, that same threat will pop up. Now, I have experienced it. That's why I'm saying it, right? So we made us believe that there is more to this campaign for this Sharia, that in Yorubaland. Then the Satan of Sokoto jumped into the conversation and he said he was disappointed in the Yorubas. He thought the Yorubas who were educated, that they said they are the most educated, they said they are the most accommodating, meanwhile they are not tolerant, they are not. I was like, Alaye, calm down, no, Mr. Satan of Shokoto. Do you have anybody in Yorubaland that complained to you that they are in danger practicing their religion in Yorubaland at all? Anyway, the conversation went on. So the resistance and the campaign against it also was pretty much loud. And the political class reacted. Some state governors categorically came out and said it will not happen in their states. Others are like, okay, you know what, maybe it is the approach. Like maybe the way we approached it, we're defensive of it. So they are now saying, no, people hate this because they don't understand. So they are using another technique. They want Sharia in Yorubaland. And when they met in Oshogbo, this is what they have to say.
Who are those people that are going to be applied, the Sharia is going to be applied for or on, so that we do not have misconception? It's just like the tax reform by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You have engagement he had with the National Assembly. All of this, it was after the engagement that he had with many of these stakeholders that they now realize that, okay, this tax reform is very, very good for us.
In this program, we have thousands of youths that came from the south, from the west, from all the four corners of Nigeria, where they come far away. Hausa, Igbo, from Benin, Yoruba, everyone are here. They are here to learn more about Islam, the reformation of their self, and also to learn how they are going to be beneficial to the society.
The national president of the group, Abdulrakib Akinyemi, stressed the need for government to improve efforts on national orientation to ensure mutual understanding of its policies and programs.
So they're like, you know what, don't let us use that approach now. So we are just going to try to explain to everybody that the Sharia is not against non-Muslims. And therefore they want to have a Sharia panel in Yorubaland. That is why they have recruited young people. The young minds, they are those very much useful for this kind of sinister message. Among all the problems facing the people in that contraption right now, the Sharia panel, these guys have invested so much resources into spread. So they are now recruiting all these young people from all over the place, and their job is to go into the interland, to go into the inner communities and ensure that the idea of having a Sharia actually is birthed and is nourished. We'll let them know, all right, that no matter how much they actually really push it, it is not going to happen in Yorubaland. It is not going to happen. And you know why? Because there's no any discrimination against anyone on religion level in Yorubaland. None. So if you go to any sort of like Islamic groups and what have you, they probably have their own, disputes sort of resolution mechanism or groups and all that. So who have always been like practicing their religion without any hindrance or what have you, or discrimination. So weaponizing that to now turn it into something so physical in order to assert your dominance, the way we have seen it in this 12 Sharia north of Nigeria, right? So that is going to remain rejected, no matter how much they push. There are many, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they can keep deploying all kinds of ideas and all that, but we can tell you that they found, those who are actually like sponsoring that, their main intention is not for anything peaceful. It is evil, and it will be rejected. Must be rejected, and it must be. This is not an attack on your religion. You've been practicing your religion in Yorubaland peacefully, no discrimination, no nothing. You do what you want, and at when you want, as long as it is lawful. You know that. So weaponizing this to make it more like it's an attack on your religion is to achieve an intended purpose, an end goal. And that is where the awareness comes in. So they will deploy all means, but there will be no Sharia in Yorubaland. Not this one that these rogues are pushing. And get, something, they are not ordinary. They are powerful too. But there's something more powerful than whatever it is that they are pushing is that what is hidden from people today, their real intention, right? It's just going to be a matter of time before some of those they would use for that, whatever sinister purpose or not that, religions, this or that, the religious war or religious crisis in Yorubaland, those they are recruiting to use for that purpose, right? They are going to also regret it eventually. So, going forward, again, here, 3 men caught somewhere in Kaduna by the Nigerian army, and their offense, they are armed robbers. So there's an interrogation of them on how they were caught and why they were caught and what, they've been involved in until that time. So I bring to you this a little bit disturbing kind of like a visual. It's an interview of the criminals, and I want it to be on record as well. Okay, just so you know that when criminals are caught like this, here, these ones are armed robbers. Also a very much violence crime, right? As it is. So sharing their own, what I would call their confession, okay, is not the reason why I am sharing these videos with you. It's actually more than that. Well, I would say it's not the only reason. It's more than that. Now, I'll give you some context. When you look at some of those caught criminals, whenever they are sort of like interviewed, majority of them are in the age range that means that they are very young. I mean, it should reflect what they call the young population of Nigeria, where they said that over 70% of Nigerians are in the ages between 0 and 35, kind of. So, and then that simply means that whenever they are talking about statistics like poverty percentage, kind of, all right? So 70% Nigerians living in abject poverty. Now, yes, 70%, some of you probably what you visualize is just some adults, right? Some adults, 70%. 170 million adults. That's not it. In that 70%, that's 170 million that they say living in abject poverty. As you picture it, you will discover that more than 60 million of them are young people, including children who have been left out there, right? And they are out there to survive in a country where it is dog eat dog. Unfortunately, those of you who are within that same space trying to make something out for yourself, right? Trying to be or keep your heads above water, you are still going to be their easy target. You are still going to be those ones that will pay for the crime of the society that shun people like this out. An economy that shrank from $568 billion straight down to $198 billion. That is a life-changing, a generational, life-changing economic decline. There will be victims. Here is one of them caught by the Nigerian army in Kaduna for armed robbery. Listen to his story.
You say, what is your name?
Babangida Julfa.
Babangida Julfa.
Yes.
You from where?
I'm from Tumbu.
Tumbu. Where which Mutumbi? Where?
It's under Kadarko.
Under Kadarko.
Yes.
Kadarko. Which local government?
That was a local government.
Was a local government.
Yes.
Okay. What happened? Why they arrest you?
I buy small gun, pistol. Where I use one.
What happened? Was they arrest you? Not talk. What happened?
I kidnapped machine.
You kidnap machine. Oh, okay. Robbery.
I robbed the man.
You robbed the man. For which road?
For Bush Road.
Bush Road now. Where?
For their side for KADUNA, near KADUNA side.
Near KADUNA.
Side.
KADUNA, which near Mutumbi?
Near Arewa side.
Okay, for Arewa side.
Yes.
They blocked the